are the creme de la creme of Gotham City's cat burglars. Never question my motive. Suffice it to say that 12 men applied for this job. All the others washed out when they were caught by the law. Proved your mettle when you escaped unscathed. I am in the process of selecting cat burglars for the greatest caper in crimedom's history. Now, pay attention.
Well, I know Julie Newmar always caught my attention. Still does. Alright. We've got the bases switched. I was going to originally use this small dome base. As you can see, I already put the brass rod in it and I super glued it in there. I already cut the bottom out. I was ready to go on this, but since we're kind of changing plans by adding the circuit and everything else, and changing the batteries from watch batteries to AAA, this just isn't going to cut it. I just don't have enough room underneath here to try and put everything in there. So no harm, no foul. We'll just use this on something else. It's already ready to go for something, so we're all good there. We'll find a use for it somewhere. I'm sure I'll be building something else that'll need a smaller base. But we've got a larger, my last one too, a larger base. And we've got it set up. We've got the new brass rod cut, and I might make this a little taller than what this one is. But underneath here, we've got our batteries in there, 2 AAA, and then we've got breadboard. I ordered some breadboard, and we've got the circuit mounted and ready to go. These 2 legs here, which are copper wire, are the feed for the circuits, and these 2 legs over here in front of the capacitor is the feed for the strobe lights. So that will make soldering them onto the board much easier, using solid copper wire as feed posts. So we're good there. So we've got holes drilled into the supports underneath here for the wiring. Got different size holes in different locations. So we've got the base all ready to go. We've got the hole drilled for the switch, but we'll only use one side of it to make it just a simple on-off switch. I'll just use one side of it. This is all I have. I don't have any regular on-offs. All I have are on-off on, but you can wire these up as an on-off just by using just 2 of the legs instead of the thirds. So we got the hole ready to go, cut, and all I gotta do is install it. But I want to scuff this up and get it ready for paint. So we've got that ready to go. Excuse me, so that's not too bad. That was pretty easy peasy, pretty fun to do. We've got our filler work. We've got some of the wires taped because we're almost ready to put this in some primer. Got the wires pushed back in there so they're not hanging out. The guards here, the metal work here, we'll just do that by hand. We've got all this filler work here. It's not perfect, but it's going to be good enough. I'm tired of doing filler work, to be honest with you. So we just got a few more things to add to the fuselage. Like we got the brakes back here and stuff. We still got to put the front and nose doors on. Got to cut those off because it's designed to have the gear down. So the doors are molded as one piece. So I have to cut the doors off. What would be part of the inner wheel well here. You can kind of see that. So I have to cut these off right here and glue the doors onto the front here and close up the front wheel wells. And then all these little scoops and stuff that we have to put on the fuselage. I haven't done that yet. Got to do all that. So. Okay, we're back and we finally got a decent day of weather that I can take this outside and paint. finally, it's been like 3 or 4 days of I swear rain all day. It's just terrible weather here. But we were able to take it outside because I'm using Duplicolor Primer Sealer. It's the only primer I use, and you can't spray that in the house unless you want to kill everybody. So nice day. I thought, boy, I better get out there and take advantage of today. So I took it out there and hit it with the primer, and it all looks pretty good. I got 2 spots right here on each side. This area right here is giving me the red ass. I worked on these for a while before I primed it and thought I had it, but as soon as I put the primer on there, it's like, no, that ain't gonna work. That seam just showed right back up again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Vallejo plastic putty on this, because if I use lacquer putty on this primer, the lacquer putty will eat the primer right off, and I don't want to do that. So we'll use the Vallejo. Got me a brand new tube of it, so this is the fresh stuff. I'll use the fresh stuff because this old stuff is starting to harden up in the tube on me. I'm starting to have a hard time getting it out of the tube, so because it's pretty old. I've had that for a long time, so I got me a fresh tube, and we'll use that on here and get that seam on each side fixed up. And once we get that done, then I'll get the table set up for painting. We'll pour us some Batman blue and get this thing painted, and I think it'll look pretty good. It's not perfect. I still got some areas, but I think once the blue is on there, I don't think you're going to notice them. And we're not doing this in a gloss. We're doing this in more of a satin. So some of my seam work I don't have to be too fussy on. The dark color will cover most of it up, so I think it'll be okay. Bottom came out pretty good, because you know there's tons of seams on that bottom. So I wasn't too disappointed in the bottom. It'll be all right once that blue goes on, so we'll be good there. I did add a little bit of weight to the nose of the plane. As you can see, the front end drops down now. I added some BBs in the nose, and I added BBs to the engine to offset the nose. So these engines have been painted Monomaster Metallizer titanium. So they got weight in them too, so that the engines should counterbalance the nose, and I think it'll be okay. If not, then I'll just put a drop of super glue on that ball and socket and just glue it in position where I want it, and then it ain't going to go anywhere. So it'll be alright. Yeah, so I'm going to let this sit for a day and let the primer cure a little bit, and then we'll get the table set up for painting and start throwing this Batman blue on there.
Until we meet again, here's a kiss to build a dream on.